Equities chopped but ultimately firmed into weekend. Treasuries were mixed with a bearish tilt as oil rallied. Crude jumped on Russia-related sanctions headlines. The dollar was broadly stable. Gold saw a violent midweek drawdown before stabilizing. Week in brief. U.S.-China. Markets traded headline to headline around a slated Trump-Xi meeting next Thursday. The U.S. is weighing export controls on goods to China made with, containing U.S. software and is also said to probe China's 2020 trade deal compliance. Russia sanctions and energy. U.S. sanctioned Rosneft and Lukoil. Reports said some Chinese state oil firms paused seaborne Russian buys. Europe is preparing further measures. Incal. LNG. Oil surge. Energy-led equities. Fed and data. With the government shutdown curbing releases, Friday's U.S. CPI stands out as the key print into next week's FOMC. Markets lean to -25 bits per second and chatter about ending QT soon. 5-year TIPS auction was soft. 20-year auction was solid earlier in the week. Japan. Takaichi confirmed as PM. Unions, Rengo, target approximately 5% wage rises in 2026. Shunto. BOJ watchers focused on CPI and the October 30th meeting. Europe, UK. Macron urged use of the EU anti-coercion tool versus China. Easy consumer confidence beat. UK CPI cooled, pushing BO expectations more dovish. Turkey, CBRT cut 100 bits per second to 39.50% as flagged. EMFX moves followed risk tone and commodities. LATAM mixed. CLP, COP traced copper, oil. Sector, earnings color. TSLA reversed post-earnings losses. Mo guidance cut weighed on managed care. Industrials, staples had bright spots. GE, 3M, co-impairment one-offs. SMCI prelims disappointed. LVS boosted buybacks, dividend. QS shipped B1 samples. NVDA Uber AV collab buzz. NFLX, TXN guidance underwhelmed. Macro and policy. U.S. housing. Existing home sales rose plus 1.5% meter per meter to 4.06 million in SEP. Inventory 4.6 months. Median price $415.2 thousand, plus 2.1% Y. Pantheon sees scope for a further, rate-driven, sales recovery but expects activity to stay below pre-COVID and looks for modest home price declines to restore affordability. Rates expectations, STIRS, late week marks, October approximately 24 bits per second, DEC approximately 49 bits per second, Jan approximately 65 bits per second of cumulative cuts priced. EFFR approximately 4.11%, SOFR approximately 4.21%. RRP usage stayed de minimis. Repo take-up ticked from zero midweek to modest. Balance sheet. Fed rhetoric kept QT speculation alive as reserves approach. Ample, baseline market take as reinvestments resuming while MBS continues to roll off. Fixed income. USTs. Oil-led bear flatteners mid-late week. 5-year TIPS tailed, soft, 20-year auction was strong earlier. Curve moves modest net on the week with a bearish bias versus Tuesday. Thursday settlements, indicative, 2Y approximately 3.48%, 10Y approximately 3.99%, 30Y approximately 4.58%. Breakevens. BEIs firmed a few BPS across the curve into CPI, 10Y near 2.29% late week. Supply, next, 2s, 5s, 7s, October 27 to 28, and 2-year FRN, October 29, bills heavy as usual. Equities. U.S. Indices. After midweek risk-off on export control chatter, stocks rebounded too with SPX, NDX up and RUT outperforming cyclicals. Leaders, laggards. Energy and industrials outperformed on oil and select earnings. Healthcare underperformed on Mo. Tech mixed, cloud to sell at IBM. SMCI prelim miss versus NVDA ecosystem headlines. TSLA staged a full reversal of the initial earnings hit. Single names. Upside beats, guidance lifts at GE, 3M, HUN, LVS, MEDP, all. Underwhelming at NFLX, TXN, ROP, and mRNA. CMV miss. Corporate actions, theme, LVS buyback, dividend hike, WBDM and a chatter, QSB1 sample shipments. Co-flagged a Q4 impairment on African bottling stake sale. Europe. Bourses chopped with energy strength offset by France-specific credit hangover early week. UK supported by dovish CPI impulse. DAX, Euro stocks range bound. FTSE 100 benefited from defensives, energy. APAC. Nikkei 225 printed fresh ATHs on political clarity and risk appetite. China, HK firmed on inline, beat macro prints and LPR on hold. Commodities. Crude. WTI deck vaulted from high 50s to low 60s, settling late week near $61.80 per BBL. Brent deck near $66 BBL. Drivers. U.S. sanctions on Russian majors. Reports of Chinese state buyers pausing Russian seaborne purchases. Europe mulling extra curbs. EIA drew on crude, gasoline. OPEC signals willingness to offset shortages. Ecofisc 2/4 K outage noted. JPM estimated China added approximately 160 MB to reserves in 2024, largest since 2020. Gold. From fresh highs to the largest single-day drop on record early week, then stabilization into Friday as real yields, breathless positioning cooled. Base metals. Copper held gains on steadier China activity beats. FX. Dollar. Range-bound. Higher USD yields didn't translate to a broad USD breakout with risk improving late week. G10. JPY softened on yield differentials and equity strength. Euro little change. GBP lagged on soft CPI, BO repricing. AUD, NZD rallied with risk and China headlines. CAD tracked oil but ended roughly flat versus USD. EMFX. MXN, BRL, CLP, COP moved with commodities and local data. MXN retail beat. CLP, COP levered to copper, oil. TRI saw mild gains post CBRT minus 100 bits per second. Themes to watch next week. FOMC. Minus 25 bits per second baseline. Watch QTN's signaling and balance sheet composition, UST versus MBS. US CPI follow-through, trend versus shelter, core services, implications for cuts path into Q1. Trump-Xi meeting. Scope for de-escalation versus incremental export control frictions. Watch anti-coercion responses out of the EU. Energy policy and sanctions. Durability of crude rally. OPEC response cadence, European LNG stance. Earnings micro, guidance quality and inventory, pricing commentary across cyclicals, semis supply chain, and managed care. Appendix, notable late week marks and color. UST settlements, 2Y 3.48%, 10Y 3.99%, 30Y 4.58%, BEI 10Y approximately 2.29%. Crude settlements, 2, WTI deck $61.79, Brent deck $65.99. Stirs. October approximately 24 bits per second, deck approximately 49 bits per second, Jan approximately 65 bits per second cuts priced. Operations. RRP $7 billion across approximately 15 C.P.S. Repo $3 billion. EFFR 4.11%, SOFR 4.21%, October 22.